Hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday, guys. Let's click the right button. Oh, and I just realized, so we're going to go to my website so that you can see that, because I have got to turn the volume on my computer. I have to turn on my monitor over here to make sure that I am on the camera or what I'm working on is on camera. Although you guys help me as well if I need to move up, move down, move to the left, the right. Shuffle, shuffle. Sound like a dance, didn't it? Anywho's, hello guys. I think over on YouTube it's waiting to go live. Are we not live? Why are we not live on YouTube? Are we live on YouTube or no? Let me refresh that and see. I might need to stop and restart. Let me know on YouTube if you guys can hear me and if you can see me. And if not, I'm gonna have to go back in and see what the heck is going on. Because it says it's waiting for Sandy McTeer Designs, but hello, I'm live. I see you live on YouTube. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Chris. I don't know why I'm not seeing myself live. That's just cray-cray. I see the banner. I know that there's a delay or a lag, but not this many minutes. No, the weather is all over the place and crazy. So, all right, so leave me a comment on YouTube if you see me live. I hit the wrong button. Okay, why can't I see me? Maybe I just need to go out and come back on. I just see the initial header. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to X out of that. Oh, I will go there and X out of that. Oh, okay. I see that I'm live. I just had to X out of something. Technology is great, right? Not. Yes, it's 30 seconds, but we were in minutes and I still was not coming up. Now I see the side of my face. So, okay, great. Thank you guys. Hello, Deb Bloomfield and Judy and Beverly and Gail and Veronica. Thank you guys. Y'all could see me and hear me, but I couldn't see me and hear me. So, not sure if she's joining me, but Janie Kaufman, if you are, happy birthday. All right, who else do we have here? We've got Loretta and Donna. Oh, Kathy Pruitt, you're working in the garden? How are those bugs? Hi, Sandy Cavalier. And Loretta and Teresa. Oh my goodness. And Sherry Ann and Deb. Oh, so Heidi Ho. I always love how you start that. Chris and Lori and Sue and Peg and Shirley Coleman and Elizabeth. And Bonnie, oh my goodness, cannot wait to see you in Oklahoma. Hi, Virginia. Brenda, Janie Kaufman's here. Happy birthday, girlfriend. And Connie and Dixie and Teresa and Janice and Kari. Now that I know how to say your name. Suzanne and Debbie and Brenda. It wasn't on YouTube for me yet. Okay, great. Yeah, I don't know what the deal was. And Cindy and Lois and Cindy and Eileen. It is looking like I am live everywhere. So if this is your first time joining me, welcome to Sundays in the Studio with Sandy. I am Sandy McTeer and I try to come live from my studio at least once, twice, sometimes 3 times a month. And you never know what we're gonna do. So today I'm gonna wing it with something I drew out. just like I did on the last live where I did the honeycomb and thing, because I am just in convention prep mode. So if you are going to OKC Painting Palooza, drop that in the comments and let me know. I have, I think, 68 students between my 3 classes. And so I've been cutting little goodies and things for them. I want to share them, but I'm not. I'm going to wait till it gets a little closer, but I created some super cute things for the people that are taking my classes, and then also for the first 100 people that shop at my booth. Because I have a 10 by 30 booth that is very full. My husband is coming with me this year, which is nice. He went to Chattanooga last year, and was it last? Yeah, it was last year. He went in June last year to Chattanooga. That was his first experience dealing with the whole convention thing. So I'm excited that he's going to go, but I've already warned him, ladies, Wednesday night is going to be mayhem. Thank goodness I'm going to have Lana and her husband, who usually help me. And sadly, my dear sweet friend and second mama, Barb Perkle's not going to be able to come this year. So I know you guys will miss her. Hello, Joanne Hall. Give me a call tomorrow, girlfriend. We'll talk. So my day has been great. It's been busy. I'm much better, thanks. Oh, that is wonderful, Deb Bloomfield. I've been praying for you and thinking about you. I don't know what the little 1s and 3s with the little crown thing is over on YouTube. They started that yesterday, I noticed, when I briefly jumped onto Tracy Morrow's live. So yeah, so I am pretty much finishing up the cutting for OKC, but then it's net. And I also have 2 seminars, one local and one virtual between that time. So, hi Marlene. Oh, I know, Janet. Don't let anyone get sick. I want to see you there. And if you're taking my journal class, let me just tell you guys, I made something even extra special for y'all to go with your journal that I've never done, but I think I'm going to start doing because I love them. So, hi, Pam. All right, if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. I know, Peg. It's, the one next year, the Art Expo is going to be in Alabama. What is Tusselville? I think is the name. It's not a big city like Birmingham or Huntsville, but they've got great support, and I am looking forward to being there. It is a little bit further for me to drive there than it did to Chattanooga. Chattanooga is like 3.5 hours. I think Tusselville for me is maybe 5, but still close enough to drive. When I drive to Oklahoma, it is 15.5 hours. I break it into 2 days. And my husband and I are going to do that this year as well. When I go to Net, which I've never been to, I'm going to visit my sister in Virginia, and then the next day get the rest of the way to Massachusetts. Massachusetts, that's a hard state to say fast, right? Oh, I would love that, Deb. I hope so. You can always fly into Atlanta and then take the shuttle to me, and then we could drive together. Hi, Mert. 15 minutes from Birmingham? Really, Loretta? I didn't realize that. Which is kind of good because Trussville. I said Tussville, right? Trussville. Because Birmingham has an airport, and you'll be able to fly into there, and yeah. Yes, I'm excited. So... he's a sweetheart. For all those that went to Chattanooga can attest that he really is he's a sweetie. So, and he's going to be there to help me. So, theme is awesome. Christmas in the South. I know, right? I know. I can't wait to share my things that I've come up with for that. Oh my goodness, Debbie Matthews. How are y'all doing? And I hope but I'm going to Net. Wonderful. First time for me too. Hi, Kathy. Let me just go ahead and say I would too, Deb. Daniker, just let me know. Um, if you are in Texas and you're affected by what's going on, let me just tell you guys, it's very difficult, just like it was last year with the hurricane that went through Asheville. It's just crazy weather and insane. And my heart goes out to the families and the area and the state and my friends. It's just so difficult to watch and see. So I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do today. I just knew that I needed to kind of dive in and be creative. I will admit yesterday, just kind of in busy mode of convention, I was thinking, "Ugh, I really don't have time to do a Sunday live." But to be honest with you guys, my heart and my soul, and I just needed to do something creative today that I knew connecting with you guys would, kind of just get our minds off something for a little while. The world is heavy right now with so many different things. And I know my retreat and my go-to place, other than through prayer, is through my painting and my art journal. And so it's my way to just kind of let out things. So who knows where it's going to go today? Like I said, I drew something out. We'll see where it goes. And I will also let you guys know that I will put a printable up on my website that's free. You have to look at the colors. So as you're watching me today create, if you think I want to paint this, grab a piece of paper and a pencil or whatever, and just jot down the colors that you think that that you want to use. I'm going to give you some options because I will be using the media line. If you missed my live last week, I did share my top 10 media line picks. These are DecoArt fluid acrylics, highly pigmented, extremely gorgeous, lovely colors. They are unlike your regular acrylics. They do not have the solids. That was probably the number one question I got. It is, what is like the main difference between them and Americana? First off, these come in a 1 ounce bottle because they are highly pigmented. And also, let me just tell you guys, since the pandemic in 2020, raw materials have gone up astronomically. Some 400%, some 800%. So while it might seem like a sticker shock to get those paints, they really do go a long way. You just need a little, okay? So, oh my goodness, Patrick. I know. I don't know what was going on. I hit something different when I went live, and it created an event, but I don't mind that. But then it didn't on one of the, like it didn't for Facebook, but it did for YouTube anyway, or one of the other. So I had to just go live. Yes, it's been a rough day. Oh, Nanette, I'm sorry. Yes, it's hard to be creative and productive when we feel the things that are going on in the world. But I have to tell you guys, it's for those creatives, for those like-minded people. And I just have to say, if you're here, I'm going to say that we are family and like-minded people and creatives, okay? If you are down or depressed or overwhelmed or have anxiety or the world just seems a little unbearable, my refuge, again, like I said, is, I go to prayer, but also into my art journal to create and play, and whatever happens, happens. That is the number one thing I want to kind of convey to you guys today is play. Play with product, play with brushes. If you're unsure if something can happen or if a product can do something or a brush can do something, the best way for you to figure it out, the best way that I figure it out is just to try. So, thank you, Ronnie, for putting that in there. Yes, art will get us through, and it really is a soul healer. It does. It doesn't fix the world. I don't know what is going to fix the world. But it is something that allows us to escape a little bit into just creating and taking our minds off the heaviness and the weight of the world right now. So I hope you will join me. Like I said, I'm going to upload the PDF on my website, the free printable. I'm not putting colors or anything because right now I grabbed a bunch of colors, have no clue what I'm going to use, but we'll get started, and you can write them down if you want to. So, okay, so let me just see. Did I see? Had to change devices. Oh, your battery died. Oh my goodness. Someone did me, oh, I'm going to do it right now. Painting is my escape, right? The funny thing, and let me just, I want to see if I can tag her. I don't see her name. Okay, I was going to tag someone. I know that a lot of times I will tell you guys to play and create and just not have a plan of what you're doing really does help. But then I have to remind myself when I'm like feeling a little anxious and overwhelmed and what do I want to paint and what do I want to do? You know, it really is a struggle. And then I have to remind myself of what I tell you guys is that just get out a page, a surface, base coat it. And if I'm not in the mood to do something, put it to the side and come back to it. Okay. So, are there any great sites or certain things to do in Oklahoma City? So there are, Terry, so I know like the Pioneer Woman, many people go there. Just look up OKC, like Oklahoma City, tons of things to do. It's a big city. I told my husband there's, Tinker Air Force Base, and he's retired Air Force. So I'm like, you know, you could always go there on a day that things are slow because I have a class Thursday, so I have the booth Thursday, but Friday I'll be in the booth all day. And I'm like, if you want to go off and, you know, go to Tinker Air Force Base, go to the museum there, whatever, there are things to do. So, yes. And you might need a car, but you could also just Uber. So... Yes, painting can be relaxing. Painting can also be very stressful. And so hopefully today with us just kind of playing and creating and picking colors, I'm going to rely on you guys, again, because I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to use or do. When it gets to that point where it's stressful, that's when you want to kind of step back and then just base coat something. I will say about 14 years ago, was it 14 years ago? I think so. I kind of lost my mojo and my ebb and my flow. Now, my ebb and flow has come and gone many times since then, but I will just say, you know, I was kind of a tight, controlled painter, and I really wanted to loosen up. And I will say probably one of the best things that happened after the pandemic was I had 23 trips in 2020, and I took 3. And so my love of painting, I love to create and paint and design, but more than that, I love to connect with people, connect with community. So I started my membership group. And then also started doing more lives, you know, and Tracy Morrow does lives, and Maureen, and the online market, and all these things that came out of the pandemic that I think are just so beneficial. But at the same time, I want you guys to remember that those ladies are also trying to make a living. And so when you buy, when you shop, when you share, when you connect, when you like their posts, you know, it really does go a long way. And I was very, very sad to see that the Artistry magazine is no longer going to be published. I was in the first issue of that. And Miho, who used to work with Society of Decorative Painters, has just been such an invaluable person to this industry. And the only one we have right now that I'm aware of, other than like Plein Air and Southwest Artist and more fine art magazines, really the Decorative Painting magazine is Painting World Magazine. And I would love for whoever wants to put those in the links. I should have it up on my thing. I will for the next live. But Painting World Magazine, run by Cole, is just, you get a lot for your money. And while it might not be what you want to paint each month, it certainly helps our industry. So if I can encourage you to just sign up and give it a year and, look at the magazine, support those artists, go to their social media, give them a like, look at the advertisements. Because I have to tell you guys, I did not know about creative painting until 2010. And I'm sad to say, well, we lived in Iceland and England, and we were all over the place because my husband's military career. I did not know about those places that were having conventions or those teachers that were offering classes because I looked at the projects and that was it. So I'll get off my soapbox or bandwagon or whatever you want to call it. So, oh, did your painting style change, becoming more? You know what? That's a great point, Patrick. So I just had to find my joy in painting again. And I think sometimes when you get so hung up on, oh my gosh, this paint color is gone and I don't know what I'm going to do, I can't paint this project. Yes, you can. You can reach out. There are so many people on social media that will help you find a color that will match that. I don't paint from patterns, so it's difficult for me to paint with a pattern. But when I paint with my members in my membership group, I usually do have a line drawing and an idea of what we're going to paint because I kind of have to prep for that. So instead of being project driven or anything about, oh my gosh, I want this class to do really well and I have to, get this in so that maybe I have, a good following or lots of students or whatever. I just paint from my heart and create something. And if they come because I built it, then, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 3, I've taught classes with 3 people. It is, again, something from my heart because I love to share. I am most passionate about sharing what I've learned, what I know, especially what I know about brushes or paint or creating or things like that. So, and I get to do that a little bit more in my membership group than I get to do on a Sunday live with you guys. And let me just because I've been talking for a long time. So we need to get started. So yes, the conventions are amazing. And I know that they are quite expensive. So have to get my water. Thank you, Judy Thacker. I greatly appreciate that because yes, I will say my style has changed. I think because my direction changed. You know how they say when you have a diversion or something or a door closes, it's not a stop, it's just a redirection. And I will say probably about 2011, I went through a redirection, a revival, kind of an uptick in what I wanted. And that was connection and relationships and sharing what I love to do. So I just appreciate y'all. Can you tell I'm in my feels? I've been in my feels for 7 months now. So, alrighty, let's go to Happy Mail. Well, I'm always in my feels, but more so. Okay, so Happy Mail number 1, and let me just show you, I've got some new stencils. So I think I'll come down here. Let me hide these names because I don't want them to see. But I do have some new stencils that I've been cutting for OKC. And so let that kind of come into focus. So I cut that a few weeks ago, and then we've got this one, which is wavy. So all the Happy Mail winners today are going to get this, and then, of course, some other Happy Mail. I love this one. This is what's on the iPad stand that I do, but I thought, you know what, that'd make a great stencil because you could paint the brushes however you want to. And then an all over hearts. Oop, let's get that up there. Kind of an all over hearts. And then this one, which I'm not exactly sure what I want to call this one. So you guys let me know. You know, it's kind of squares and rectangles. It's a grid. So I was thinking kind of grid or I don't know, something like that. You guys let me know. I like the fact that you only share what you have used and liked, product tested. Absolutely, Dixie. I will never ever share a product with you guys that I do not like, because that doesn't do me anything and it doesn't do anything for you. However, let me go back to say that I'm a firm believer that a brush has to feel right in your hands. I have many good, sweet, dear friends that use other brushes. And while I love my Dynasty brushes, I also appreciate and respect them for the brush that they use. That's great. So I will never share a brush, a paint, a product, a stencil, nothing that I don't use or love. But again, that brush has to feel right in your hand and has to perform for you. And I've told Dynasty this. If it doesn't work for them, why waste their money and have it sitting in a jar, right? I will share what I do with it, why I like it, what it does for me, and hopefully it does the same for you. And if not, message me and ask me and say, I'm getting this and this is happening and da-da-da-da, and I don't know why. I am happy to give some tips and tricks that might help you understand that brush and what it can do better. Okay, back to Happy Mail. So, Happy Mail number 1. So what I do, Cindy, yes, Cindy Nezazon. Is that how you say your name, Cindy? So what I do is all the live comments, all the comments that came in from last Sunday till now at, 1 o'clock today, I put those on the wheel, spun the wheel. 3 names is what I spin it 3 times. I write down the names. Happy Mail goes out to you. If I do not hear from you by the next live, which this month is not going to be until the 20th, because next month I'm on a family vacay, then unfortunately your Happy Mail goes back into the stash. Okay? Let me know by either messenger, text if you have it, email, or go to my website, click the contact button, let me know your mailing address, and I will get it out to you this week. All right? So, first, Cindy. Second, my Georgia friend, Diane Nelson. Okay, let me put those to the side so I don't lose them. And then third, Happy Mail, Lynn Jensen. And Lynn, I think I've not seen your name come up on the wheel before. What was the stencil? Oh, the one I needed a name for. Wait, Tracy had a neat stencil sheet. Oh, I don't have that one, Suzanne. I think this one might be similar, but I don't know. I'm not exactly sure where she got that one. But I've been doing new stencils and lots of new things for OKC. I'm kind of thinking when I do a section at OKC, because like I said, I have a 10 by 30 booth, that I'm going to do a whole new section. So it might be new stencils, new kits or new wood things, new brush sets, because I've been coming up with some new brush sets. So I'm not exactly sure, but I think so. Okay, but what I need a name for is this one. Are we going to do this one as grid? Mine did not come from long as I am in Seattle now. I'm not sure what that means, Mona. Thank you guys. And also just to kind of reiterate, thank you, Kathy. I do send Happy Mail internationally. I just sent Happy Mail to well, I have a plaid. I have a pretty plaid and I have a plaid. M271 is mine and Tracy Morrow's plaid stencil. And then Pretty Plaid is SM something. So this one needs something else. I don't know. Yeah, not new brushes, Loretta, but new brush sets. So I'm kind of packaging it and putting those into sets. But what was I going to tell you guys? I completely forgot. Oh, I shipped to Australia Happy Mail from last week's drawing Yvonne did the week before. Anyway, and let me just say, I know there was a comment or two, and then I also had some messages why DecoArt doesn't ship to Canada or to overseas places. I will just tell you the number one thing is the cost of postage. Paint is heavy, and when you ship paint, it's expensive. I can send something to Tracy Morrow, and it costs me probably 3 times what it costs for her to send something to me. It's just the post office. It's the postal system, which is grid lines. Oh, that's kind of good too. Oh, Mona, I'm sorry. I know that wheel sometimes doesn't play nice, right? But I have to go by the wheel. Yeah, I think grid. Maybe grid plaid, plaid grid, maybe. Window pane. Okay, just keep them coming and I'll look. Quilt squares, that's good too. So, all right, it's 4:30. Let's get started. How long are you in Washington, Mona? Georgia plain, like tartan plaid. Ooh. Yes, Mona, let me know how long you're in Seattle for. Gridley. He absolutely is, Diane. I know, I absolutely just adore him. Patrick is amazing. Okay, so I received Happy Mail in France not so long ago. Did you get the package I just mailed you? Patrick, I'm wondering. I don't think so. I need to check the tracking and see if you got it. But there's some goodies in there for you. So, and that was a little expensive to ship, but only, again, because it's to France. You know, for me to send something to California sometimes it costs as much as a first class thing to France. So you just never know, right? Okay, guys, make sure to like, comment, share so that you're entered into the Happy Mail drawings, alrighty? And then just to let you know as well, on the discount codes, again, when you shop on my website, if you are in my membership group, do not use that code on my website. You have your own code. Do not put that in the comments because that is just for y'all. And then on DecoArt, it's not the first SM25H1. It is now SM25H2. So if you used the first one, SM25H1, you can use the SM25H2 to get 20, is it 20 or 25%? I think it's 20% off your order. I did look at that, Chris, after you sent it, Pirate Ship. For me, sometimes it's just a few dollars cheaper. Okay, the Brush Guys Sandy MC. But again, I also sell the Dynasty brushes, so I would rather you buy them from me. Okay, guys, I'm going to, hi Lillian, get started. So what I, again, thought about was just winging it. I printed off some quotes the other day to do something. This is something that I'm really kind of intrigued with and trying to incorporate into my life a little bit more. The let them theory. So if you've not heard that, just Google it. You'll find some interesting things. But I'm almost thinking that I want to use this one today. Again, in the PDF that's going to be loaded on my website after this, I have everything loaded, but I wanted a color picture of whatever it is that I create today. So that's why I did not get it uploaded. I grabbed some brushes. I grabbed some stamps. I love this one from the Papillon or Papillion. Tim Holtz, Stampers Anonymous. I believe it is still on sale. And then again, don't forget that discount. But I love that. I might use that here and there. But let's just get started. And like I said, I'm using primarily the media line colors, but I will share and show colors that are the Americana that will be a good substitute. Okay, so we're gonna start with some Hansa Yellow Light. Oh, I love that, Debbie Easton. Enjoy painting with your granddaughter and catch the replay. No worries. Okay, let's flick that there and then zoom in a wee. Oh, well, hello. That was. Okay. I'm going to save this and let's just get a water bottle. Hello, Linda Johnson. How are you, my friend? Are you anywhere near the flooding and stuff? I hope you are safe and well. Papillon, yes. So, butterfly. I drew out a hibiscus and I went ahead and did all the lines. And so I know this is going to make you happy, Nanette. When my parents lived in, well, they lived in Okinawa, and that's where I moved to, and met my husband on a blind date. 3 months later, got married. 35 years later this year, we've been married. But they had hibiscus, and then when they moved to Hawaii, of course, it's just, I love everything tropical. So that is nice and wet. I'm going to get maybe let's see here, like a number 12 flat. Just get it wet, tap it off, and I'm going to just kind of put this here and there. I want this to be painterly and watercolor-ish. Nothing real heavy. And just play. Again, it is what soothes my anxiety, stressed soul. I love it. And oh my goodness, let me also thank, I completely forgot, Deborah Reese last week gave hearts. Hello, I just looked at something that was a heart. And I did not thank her. So Deborah Reese, I know you're also have a husband in heaven celebrating a birthday today, but I did see that, and I apologize I didn't last week. But let me just reiterate that if you like, or if you send stars on Facebook, that money goes to the World Central Kitchen, feeding people around the world. If you send $1 over on YouTube and you hit that dollar thing and send money that way, again, that money goes to the World Central Kitchen. And at the end of the year, I match it. I will let you guys know how much I matched. And again, it's just going to a great cause, because there are people around the world that go hungry every day. And it makes me sad. When I was in 6th grade, my sister and I walked 20 miles. We grew up in Southern California till I was in 6th grade. And we walked for an organization called Walk for Mankind. And it would send money over to Africa and places that, desperately needed it. And I need to move that. It's still just something that is so heavy on my heart to see people not get what they need on a daily basis. All right, so this is quinacridone magenta. I'm thinking it might be a little bit dark for the background. Now, I just mentioned that I was going to do. So if you don't have Hansa Yellow Light, use bright yellow, primary yellow, yellow light if you have it. But instead of using the quinacridone magenta in the background, I think I'm going to use strawberry. Now, I know I had a question the other day about how to mix this color because they don't have it. This is a difficult color to mix. And the reason being is because it is a very transparent color. So when you're mixing solids and stuff, it's easy to kind of get a ratio of things. But because this is so transparent, it's difficult to really make that color. So I would suggest like watermelon slice with maybe a touch of peony pink, or I don't know, another pink that's a little brighter, but just a touch. Watermelon slice can be pretty transparent as well. So we are just going to paint this here and there, but not everywhere. Okay. And then let's just give it a nice little spritz. So I didn't dry it all the way when I did the yellow. I just dried it a little. Yeah, I love hibiscus. My sister had a double hibiscus, and I didn't do it double, but when I taught at Society of Decorative Painters, I want to say it was 2017, I taught a sold-out hibiscus class. It was a ruby hibiscus. Loved, loved, loved that class. Alrighty, so again, just added a little more yellow, a little more pink. We are just going to let this move and blend, and then wipe up our area. Let it, because I love it when things like this happen, when it's streaky and you get a little bit more color here and there. We don't want any straight lines. So if you don't have something that transitions and moves, make it transition and move. Just kind of use your finger, bring them together. And we're going to lay that. Yes, the doubles are beautiful. So I understand, Mona. The thing is, it doesn't matter how many times you share or like or whatever. It is, your name goes on the wheel, and when it spins, it spins. So. It's like those people at Wheel of Fortune. Go ahead and stop on the dollar. So we're going to use a lot of these colors in our hibiscus as well, but we're going to separate it. Now, one thing, I didn't dry it all the way because I want to take a paper towel and I just want to lift a little bit of color here and there, not everywhere. Okay, and you can always come back with a little bit of water. So Kathy, this is actually an acrylic paint, and you can use, just like I did with the strawberry, you can use it, especially the media line and the transparent colors in the DecoArt Americana line, you can mix with water to get watercolor effects. I call it watercolor-ish. So, let me let that dry. I was going to use... I got some of this from Jack Richardson, and it's the Yarka, and let's see if there is. There's not, but if you go to Jack Richardson, which is right there, let me point it, Jack Richardson, is that in focus? That's not in focus. Let's open it. Hell, these are awesome. Okay, so why is it not focusing? Hello, that's that new phone. Okay, and I put a cute little, kind of like a little goodie box thing, and I did that with the Arca watercolors. I didn't do that side yet. I was just playing around with them, and they're very vibrant, very nice. And the shows I've been to with DecoArt, where distributors, people that own fine art shops and things, absolutely love those watercolors. All right, so you can see how wet the paper is. It's just a little damp, and so very relaxed. I know, I really should, right? Like the one I made for Tracy, her button and her sticker, the perfection thing. I just don't know if people would understand what it means. I could always say what I do a lot of times too at conventions, which is, I hope you check perfectionism at the door. Oh, I love that, Terry. Yes. So I love that hibiscus. And I took that same hibiscus and did it on a tote bag for my sweet friends in Texas, in Houston. And loved the way that came out as well. Okay, so you kind of want to, my thing is not completely dry, but I want to reevaluate if I want any colors anywhere else. And I'm thinking that I want a little bit of pink here. And we'll rinse it out. A little bit of yellow. I love pink yellow, and I love pink yellow and orange. So again, it doesn't matter what you get on the petals or on the leaves. Just gonna do a second little layer. Get some color in there. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. Put a link for that hibiscus tote bag. I love that. And I love painting on fabric. Decor's So Soft fabric paint is the absolute best. Alrighty. So, probably need to stop drenching that with water, but let's dry it. I don't like that. So if you've got an area that's too dark, just move it around with your finger. Now, if you're doing this on wood or canvas, no worries. You can base coat it, do your line drawing. But if you're doing it on wood, I would recommend sealing it with the multi-purpose sealer first, because you see how much water I'm using. The fluid acrylics are thinner. The water is going to make it a lot thinner. And you don't want that wood grain or MDF grain or whatever coming up. Again, if you see a straight line, just move it around with your finger. If you don't like to get your fingers wet or paint on them, use a brush if you have to. But I am a firm believer that if I have paint on my fingers daily, it's been a good, productive day. Oh, what are you painting, Deborah Graydon? And where are you from? Try to plant a hibiscus here that is winter hardy. That's kind of hard, right, in Utah? You guys do get some extreme weather, hot and cold. My mom has the greenest thumb ever. And I rearranged my room where my two lasers are, my laser machines. And where one of them is, I used to have a long table by the window with all my orchids. Well, I had to move them to a spare bedroom that's at the front of our house so that they get sun. But I miss them. So I try and go in and say hi and talk to them. And Sunday is always feeding day for them, so. Still wet. The other thing is I'm working on a gray silicone mat and plexiglass underneath that. So this is going to sweat on the back. So it doesn't hurt to give it a nice little dry here and there. Get nothing too dark. Hi, Ellie. It's going to be on my website. Yes, Mona. I will get it loaded this evening. It will be under the free printables section, but also, yeah, I think so. And then under what's new. But you'll just be able to download it. I think, is it under what's new? I will post a link on this live when I'm done. I'm determined to tear that little tab off. I'm just working on my art journal page. All righty, so, see, hello. And if I do that, I don't care because there are more, but you can always put it back on with some matte medium. Okay. I'm going to stamp with this Again, the Papillon stamp set. Love that. I was thinking about some collage paper, but I kind of want to just keep it simple and play and, you know, have fun and not put too much in the background. Just here and there, but not everywhere. It just has a nice little interest. Whatever stamps you have. Okay. And I'm just using a Stays On ink pad. Love, love, love. If you have this, do yourself a favor and order that on Amazon or wherever else you can get it, because it's cheaper and there's a lot in there, and it will extend the life of that pad. I don't sell either of those. I get mine at Hobby Lobby. All right, let's come in and just wipe up our silicone mat here. And I'm just going to wipe that off. My Gray Matters palette. I will say, after I shared my top 10 fluid acrylics and the Gray Matters palette, y'all scooped them up. Scooped them right up. Okay, now let's come in and do a little bit of shading, a little bit of playing. I'm thinking, do I want to use one of those new stencils? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. No, we're going to leave it. All right, let's go to my favorite color in the media line, Payne's Gray. Okay? If you have no other color in the media line, Payne's Gray is the one you want. So I have Rosa Sharon in my backyard. Love, love, love. My husband planted that for me last year. And this year they are just blooming like crazy. So let me find my favorite angle brush. Let's see. I like the black gold, but I love the faux squirrel. Okay. So let's get the faux squirrel. I like that it holds more moisture. If you have the Deco Art Traditions brushes, same filament, okay, same bristles. So a little bit of Payne's Gray, and we're just going to come up underneath here and there. Let me get my mop. So I'm going to use my IPC medium soft flat top mop. Just do a little bit of shading. You definitely want water on your brush. And again, I'm using an angle brush. It has a toe and a heel. So you want to use the toe only. Don't put that paint on the heel. Okay, we're just going to lift here and there. A couple places. We'll come back and put in a little bit of cast shadow. But all right. There. This is the other thing, if your floats get real dark, when you start, you're there and it's very dark, right? Walk it to the right. Look how much lighter it gets. So if you're like, my floats are always so dark, you don't have to walk that far, but maybe walk 3 or 4 little steps out and you might go, oh, that's exactly, you know, the color I'm wanting. And just walk it back in. Okay, so I've got some dead space in the back here that I'm just going to put a little bit of Payne's Gray, because you wouldn't see a lot of color there. Again, I just want this painterly and fun. Alrighty. Winter Hardy. Yes. So, right, that IPC flat top mop's the best. Oh, I love that. Absolutely. So if you are anywhere near the Newport News area in Virginia, you have got to go paint and play with Donna Holtz and the ladies there. They're fantastic. I have been in person there twice, taught on Zoom once, and we're going Zoom again in 2027. Okay, I have some gesso. So I am going to put this out on the page. Now, because I did watercolor-ish to begin with, I did not put gesso to begin with on my page, which I normally do. But now I am going to put a little bit of, oh, goodness gracious. Can't remember the last time I knocked a tab off my journal page. But just put a little bit of gesso, and we'll come back maybe at the end and put a little bit more. I did a lily similar to this. Now that I'm looking at it, I think the very first time I taught a journal class at Creative Painting. So if you took that class, we did a lily, and I can't remember what else we did. Maybe a sunflower. But wow, that just kind of reminded me. So a little bit of gesso. If I were going in with heavy paint, I would definitely want to do a wash of gesso over the page to begin with, because as you can see, it's buckling. It will lay flat in my journal. But I either use matte medium, prefer a wash of gesso over the whole page. Okay. Surely in Florida, Loretta, there are some. Okay, I'm going to take my 3/8 angle and I'm going to pick up some of that gesso. There are several close to the Pinellas, Tampa area. I painted with Port St. Lucie. That's what I was trying to remember the name of when I taught the koi fish to my membership group. Could not think of the name, but it was Port St. Lucie. Fantastic group of people. There are many in Orlando. I've been to Jacksonville, I think 3 times. Fantastic group of ladies there. Okay. Let's dry this. Thank you, Holly. I love the background. Simple, quick. You saw how it came together. Just wet paint. Wet paint. "90 minutes north of you, Loretta." Yeah, you should look at, depending on what coast you're on. Look at Port St. Lucie. Okay, now let's come back in with that quinacridone magenta because, hello, it's gorgeous. The only color I know that's kind of close to this would be a little bit of berry cobbler with some alizarin crimson mixed in to give it that beautiful look. But do you see how little? You don't need a lot. Do yourself a favor, get those off your bottles. Your bottle will close. It will last a lot longer for you. I just got more out because... Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Cindy. Hopefully you saw you did win a Happy Mail. There's a group in Fort Myers also. Oh, okay, awesome. Hi, Karen. Oh my goodness, Karen, I saw your dragonfly and jar right before I went live. I was looking on the group. I've got to go and comment on all y'all's pretties that you've been sharing. So, okay, so I'm using the same brush, a 3/8 angle. I don't want this heavily painted. I want it to be very watercolor-ish. So I'm going to load that toe with quinacridone magenta, and I'm doing a tiny little stroke like that, okay? So the reason I do that is it brings some of the color up, which is going to help not create such a line. float that right up the stamen there. There, separate these petals. Hi, Donna Baker, no worries. Again, a little bit at the base there. And I'm just gonna bring it out a little here and there, but again, not everywhere. So bring it here, bring it up. Come down, bring it up. Over here, and bring it up. Very watercolory. If you are a tight painter, this will be a challenge, but challenge yourself to watch, stop and do, and then come back, watch, stop and do. If you like the look. Again, we're playing. It is a play day. And I'm glad you guys came to watch me play. So, get a little bit off there, too much. And then back into the base of this. Up and back. If it's not moving, you need water. Okay. And let's get this one a little bit. Okay. I haven't lost the leaves or anything, but let's come in with some Dairy Lied Yellow. And like I say, it always sounds better when you say it with a southern accent, Dairy Lied. But Dairy Lied Yellow is, I don't know what color in Americana that it's closest to. I know in plaid it's like school bus yellow, but it is a very intense, pretty yellow. Saffron yellow, that's exactly what it is in the Americana line, but not the extent of pigment, okay? But, oh, I just love it. And again, I'm just kind of putting it here and there, but not everywhere. Remember, we're playing. This isn't one of those base coat highlight shades. It's definitely a kind of put it here, and if you like it, leave it, and if you don't, figure out a way to fix it. You can always come back in with some white. You can always come back in with some warm white and fix it up. But I'm just going to put this here and there. We will add a little bit of pen work at the end to separate even more. That's why I like using an angle brush too, because that toe, you can kind of slide it on that chisel. I'm flat, but I'm also on the chisel, so you get a little bit more of that line action coming in. Alrighty. I do think I need a little bit more of that quinacridone magenta right here. Pretty much all yellow. All right, we have the equivalent here, they call it rustic. Saffron yellow, yes, definitely. All righty, let's come in with some sap green. I'm just gonna switch gears a little away from the flower right now. We'll come into some sap green. Gonna get my brush wet. Load it on the toe, work it in, but if it gets everywhere, that's okay. Because what I want to do is have the majority of that color on the toe, but if it bleeds, that's okay, because I'm going to paint the whole leaf. Again, since we're going with the watercolory effect, Plantation Pine is my go-to Americana. Again, if you missed that live last week where I shared my top 10 and then some of many different products, go back and watch that on my YouTube channel. Okay, so a little bit more. Oh, thank you, Linda. Okay, so hope you're staying cool. How hot is it in Arizona? It's got to be at least in the hundreds, right? Now see the stem? It's in the way. So we go over things that are in the way and we bring them back if they make the cut. Sometimes they don't make the cut. Sometimes I just do away with them, but we need a stem for this, so it's just going to get some paint over it until we come back and paint it. Okay. Hi, Carrie. I think it's what we were talking about last week too, you know, things that are abstract, you know, oftentimes I remember when I was just teaching myself how to paint, had a fantastic 6th grade art teacher. But when I was teaching myself how to paint, I used to always look at like abstract art and think, you know, a kindergartner can do that. There is a method to their madness. And I certainly have a lot more respect for them as a designer and artist and educator, that, you know, things are placed in a certain way or done in a certain way. And it's about the feel. I love the painterly look of this. It might not be your style, but again, play and give it a go, because letting yourself go and letting yourself play will actually do your regular way of painting a lot of good. Okay. Now I think I'm just going to take some of that green, and I don't have really a leaf, but just a little bit of that coloring here and there, maybe a little over there. And then certainly on the stem. Okay, let's dry this. 105, oh my goodness, Linda. Well, Debbie, I mean, it can be. An acrylic wash, of course, you're doing a wash with acrylic paints. Watercolor, you're painting with watercolors, which has a totally different makeup. It doesn't have the solids in it that acrylic paint does. However, if you water it down or you use mediums to water it down, you can get a very watercolorish look. Okay. You can also use so much water that the paint might not adhere, so you break down the properties of it. So let me show you what I would use for that. If you don't have like a glazing medium, 2 new products. This marker maker that you can mix with any paint, acrylic 1-to-1. You can thin the paint down to get a watercolor-ish look as well. And it is specifically made to keep the vibrancy of the paint and to adhere. Okay, the other is Make It Stain, same thing. This is more like a gel, so if you like blending gel, you can use Make It Stain with any of your acrylics and use it like a blending gel to blend your colors, to move your colors, to double load, to float shading, highlights, etc. These 2 products, while they are specifically made for those, I love to test products to see what they can do, and I've used them in the other ways as well, and I will just highly recommend them for lots of different uses other than just making a marker or staining a piece of art. Okay, so let's come in now, same brush, 3/8 angle, and we're going to pick up some quinacridone magenta and a touch of Payne's gray. Now that makes quinacridone violet in the media line. Okay, but we do want, that's where we're going to put this darker color, because you know, like a tube flower, a flower like a lily or a calla lily or a hibiscus or a trumpet flower, those things that have that tubular, you want to get that darkness right down in there so that it looks like you could stick your finger right in it, right? Now we want to bring that up just a little bit. Again, that was quinacridone magenta and Payne's gray. Now I also have, I'm going to pick up a little bit of Payne's gray in here. And then I want to show you something. So, yeah, I don't carry the, have you demonstrated the marker and stain products? I did, yes, a couple of weeks ago or a month ago or a couple months ago. I don't carry them, but again, you can go to DecoArt and don't forget to use that SM25H2 to get a discount. Okay, so remember last week when I was telling you guys, or the week before, we were talking about mixing colors. So this is Payne's gray. This is Dowry Light Yellow. So if I took a dot of Payne's gray and a dot of Dowry Light Yellow, there's sap green. I can add a little bit more Dowry Light Yellow. And I'm gonna get an olive green. Okay, so play around with the colors. Payne's gray is very similar to black. Black has colors in it. When you mix it with yellows, it's going to give you a pretty green. So play around with it. Have fun. All right. Quinacridone, ooh, picked up too much of the Payne's gray. So let's come back into that. And we're going to go up underneath where these meet. Let's pick up a tiny bit more. Where the petals meet, you want to separate those. So something needs to be lifted up and off. And look what a difference just that shading right there made for those two petals. Hello, Pam. No apology necessary, my friend. Glad you're here. We'll separate those. Remember, painting is all about lights and darks, okay? Knowing where to put the lights and darks comes with practice and painting and learning. But if you look at something and you're like, something seems off, most likely it's either your lights or your darks, okay? Again, we are not going for any kind of a base coat one color, floating, highlighting, shading in another color. It is a play, painterly look, loose style of painting this hibiscus. Okay, now here I don't want to do the whole thing, but certainly want to separate where they meet. Hi, Barbara. Yes, as does most blocks. Has all the primary colors in it, so definitely going to get a green out of that when you mix them. All right, let's separate this one a little bit more. That was just kind of a wimpy shading, Sandy. This one has a little flip. So did you see where I did that one? I did it on the petal side because that's a little flip on the petal there. And then same here, got a little one that comes up. And I thought I had drew out one more right here. Now, let's come back to our leaves. We're going to come in with the sap green or plantation pine, a touch of Payne's gray. That is my go-to dark green. So black green in the DecoArt line would work great, or soft black mixed with a little bit of plantation pine. And again, just that very loose. Again, just, oh, it just lifts. Thank you, Barbara. Okay, we want to go up underneath where these meet. You can use your finger or your mop. I tend to just put my finger there because I'm too lazy to stop and pick up my brush, but I'm gonna need more sap green. But again, a little goes a long way. Okay. And then a little bit under here. And my birds, we saw a hummingbird today in my yard. So I have a bird feeder right in the window at my workstation, my other workstation where I design and paint mostly. And while I was sitting there talking to my husband, a hummingbird flew by, and I'm like, oh, that was a hummingbird. So I don't know where that came from because I don't have any kind of hummingbird feeders. We did when we had a deck, but we don't have a deck anymore because that's my studio now that we closed in. Titanium white. Let's get a little bit of that. I'm gonna pick that up on the toe of my brush. And I'm just going to loosely highlight some of these petals. So we had the ones that had the floating to make them separate. Now we want to bring these that are on top out just a little bit more. And if the white's too much for you, you can always come in and add just the tiniest bit of diarylide yellow. Okay, and we don't want that to go right to our center there, but towards it. And then here, remember we've got that little flip right there. So we want to accentuate that as well. Same here. Again, just a little, where did my color go? Right there. You don't want it to look outlined, so bring that brush out a little bit if you need to, so that, and then where it meets, just soften that with your finger. Okay, and then on this side, now I typically don't do a petal over, and a petal under, but it just worked out that way. So, and I liked the way it looked when I drew it, so we're just gonna leave it that way. Get too much yellow, get more white. And that one needs a little bit of mopping just to soften it. And then here, a little more white. And again, where it comes in, just soften that. Okay, so was what a stamp, Carrie. The only stamp I've used is the this stamp in the background, just here and there. And then those things, we are, like I said, we are going to come back and put a little line work on, so I don't need to worry about too much separation. However, I do like adding that color in. Okay, now on the leaves, we're going to take sap green and Payne's gray, probably about equal parts. Load that in. And if this is the dark side of my leaf, I want to put the toe facing the dark side. Okay, so this is going to be the dark side. And we'll just do a little vein right down the center. And then same here, if this is the dark side. Again, same, sap green, Payne's gray, we'll lay that in. And then we've got all those lines that we can still see, right? So I'm just gonna leave those lines. What you see, you see. This is one of the great things about winging it, just kind of that watercolorish look, mixed media, just adding those things in. All right, so. Absolutely, Gail. Just what Catters, I think, is the name on YouTube. Just said you can do that on. Yeah, absolutely. Pull out a page from a dictionary and do it. You know, we are going to add some cast shadows to make that stand up even more. But for now, I'm going to put this brush down, which we've used for the majority of everything, and come in with my Mezzaluna. So I have a medium Mezzaluna brush. I'm going to pick up white. And normally I would wipe most of it off, but now what I want to do is I just want to skim that across my paper towel. And I will just pull a couple strokes here and there on the petals. And pull. And then use your finger to help that along. Okay, so I'm kind of thinking about more of those highlighted areas, but leave it sketchy, leave it streaky. That's going to give you a really pretty painterly look. Okay. I'm just swiping it across my paper towel, not taking all the color off. All right, I'm happy with that. So back to the angle brush, sap green, Payne's gray. We're going to come up the side of that stem right there. Then back to our Mezzaluna. So I have white. I am going to wipe more of it off, and then we will just kind of dry brush here and there, but not everywhere. On the other side of that center vein, on our brighter side of our leaf, like I shared, was it last week when I did that? And then green gold, okay? Green gold, get those things off. You wanna shake up that media line as well. And we will take that 3/8 angle, get it wet. Oh, I love that, Carol. Okay, so I have a little bit of green gold on the toe because it is a very strong color. And I'm gonna work that into my angle brush. You can see that on the bottom right of your screen there. And I'm just going to go over those leaves. Again, pick up just a little on the toe. That way you can control how much you're putting on. Again, it is a very strong color. Okay, and then I want to do a little bit of cobalt teal hue. These two colors together are amazing. Now let's just dry things, and I don't care at all. Let me show you, I love when this happens. So that background color, you can still see through the leaf a little bit, leave it. Every traditional decorative painting rule, if you will, I don't like rules when it comes to paint. I like to just, you know, if I like it, I leave it. And if I don't, I figure out a way to fix it. But it's going to tell you, you need to do this and that. No, you don't. Just have fun and play with it. So putting this blue on, this cobalt teal hue, again, same thing, I'm gonna put a little on the toe, Swipe it across my paper towel. I'm going to put a little bit on those leaves. I have very, very little. Oop, that's way too much. Very little on my brush. If you get too much when you first swipe it on, do what I did. Use your fingers, move it around. Alrighty. So back to our stem, I'm going to take that mezzaluna, a little bit of white, swipe it across my paper towel. And in the wider parts of our stem here, we want to add a little bit of dry brushing white. We'll come in and add that green gold. Right. Same thing up here. I'm going to come in with that angle brush. I have sap green on the toe. We're going to come right up here to our center stamen with that sap green. And I'm going to pick up, so I have sap green on my brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit of Dairy Light Yellow. So it's going to make kind of an olivey green. And we are just going to tap, tap, tap. So sap green, Dairy Light Yellow, or Plantation Pine, and saffron yellow. And I'm just dabbing the toe of that brush. Rinse it out. And then I'm going to come in back to our background color that we used, that Hansa Yellow Light. And I'm just going to dry my angle brush, and I like to run it through my index finger and middle finger, or my index finger and my thumb, to get that nice flat chisel edge. I'll dip the toe into Hansa Yellow and into white, back into Hansa Yellow, back into white, flatten it, and go. And I'm just going to randomly is the key. So if you go, oh, I got a green dot there and I got a green dot there, it's going to look forced and planned. Go over that center stem with that color, and that will give that stamen the look that it goes all the way around. Okay. And then we will pick up some, I just wiped off my brush, didn't wash it out. A little bit of quinacridone magenta, a little bit of white. We'll work that in, swipe it across our paper towel. We're going to do these little knots at the top of our stamen. Rinse it out. Again, 3/8 angle, a little bit of white on the toe, swipe it across your paper towel, and we're going to bring it up and highlight that stamen. And if you lost it all, you can always come in like with a white Posca pen, or just come back in with your paint anywhere you feel like you need to bring those petals a little more forward. But you want to soften it. We don't want to make it look outlined. Again, if it's not moving, you got to have that water. So, again, when you put the pattern on, when I load that and put the pattern on as a free printable, I would recommend when you go over it with your pen to put a wash of gesso. It'll tone down the black lines a little bit, and it'll get your page ready for painting. I'm pretty confident mine has gesso everywhere, so didn't really need to add that. Okay, a little more white. Alrighty, I'm loving this. Oh, I love that, Loretta. All right, so let me get my number 4 flat. Number 4 and number 2 flat are my go-tos. So I'm going to pick up some Payne's Gray. You can see there on the top right-hand side of the screen, some Payne's Gray with water. Always best if you test it to see if it's too dark. I feel like I could do a little bit more. Okay. And we're going to add in that cast shadow. Add a little bit more. We'll come up underneath the leaf. Now I'm going to come away from the tip of the leaf down here, and then I'll bring it to the leaf. And what that's going to do is it's going to lift it up from the background. Okay, but you do want to come to that leaf so it knows what it's doing a shadow for. We'll come there. Again, more water. Don't want it too dark. Oops, did I get white? I got white in that. We don't want white. I'm going to come right up underneath here. And again, away from the tip of that leaf to get that lift. Up underneath there. And then even here, where you need to lift, you can go right over, because it's inky, you can go right over the shading we did before, and it's just going to really lift that up off the other petal. But because it's so watery and inky, it's not going to give you that gray look. Okay, that Payne's gray look. Alrighty. Same thing if you want to darken a shadow. So I'm going to pick up some more Payne's gray, swipe it across my paper towel because it's too dark. I can come up this stem, bring a little bit more on. I can come here between leaves, bring a little bit more on. I can come right here and do a little bit more. I do want more sap green showing, so we'll go there. Alrighty. Oh, I love that, Eileen. Okay, back to the sap green. So see, excuse me, the Payne's gray. So that goes right over. I want to make that darker right there so that it looks like that stem goes right over that leaf. Okay. Now, let's dry everything. So Cindy said, I'm intimidated by the way you rub your fingers. So Cindy, don't use a lot of pressure. Just a very soft, light touch. And see what you get from there. And if you need to do a little bit more, swipe it again. I oftentimes will swipe it too hard and I have to put the color back. So it's a playing game. I don't know if I want to outline this in black. You guys tell me, should I outline it in black or do the shadows and highlights give it enough separation? Bye, Donna. Give Rich my love. Tell him I said hello. Hope you guys all had a good 4th of July as well. Okay, we're going to come back to the angle brush with just quinacridone magenta. I'm going to come right up here on those little nubbins. And then I'm going to get my brush wet. So I had the toe with just the quinacridone magenta, swipe it across my paper towel, and now I'm just going to add a little bit to my leaves here and there, but not everywhere. Hi, Mom. Thank you, Janet. Thanks, Bonnie. So, you make cash shadows look so easy. So, D. Herbert, when you do your cast shadows, I want you to put your piece upright somewhere and step back from it. Okay? So, step back from it, look and see if, oh my gosh, that just lifted that whole thing. No outline, that's where I'm going. Alrighty, let's get our word. So again, I just thought this was fun. So I'm going to tear this. This will be in the download. All right. So let's get our 3/8 angle. I'm going to get it really wet, make sure it's clean. And I want to come right here with my water. You could cut it with scissors. I love that torn paper edge look. You know, the fibers and So we will do that. If you don't have an inkjet printer that doesn't bleed, I do. I always forget, like I tell you guys every time I do this. I always forget what I have. But I do have an HP 8720, and the ink that I have does not bleed when you paint over it or you get it wet. I also have a laser. If you don't, you can always take that to an office printing place like Office Depot, or I don't even know if Kinko's is still around. Is Kinko still around? You guys know? Office Depot or Staples or whatever they have in France or wherever else you are. If they have that. Now, I don't want all this extra white. I do like that it goes kind of like in a little arc, so I think I'll cut the paper or pull the paper, tear the paper to follow that. So again, just to remind you guys, I will not be live next Sunday. I will be with my parents, my sisters, and their husbands, and mine, of course, for the first, I think, in history, the first Warner with all of our spouses vacation. And it's to celebrate my amazing father's 80th birthday and my amazing parents' 60th wedding anniversary. So I will not be here next Sunday. Okay, I like that. And it's going to go right over, but I'm going to bring some color on it because I don't want it just to be white. I could not find you for anything, Lucy Mott. Leave the black off. It looks okay. Well, you could leave that off if you wanted to. And Patrick said, yes, we have the equivalent of a Staples here. Awesome. I like without outlines. I spray mine with matte spray. Yes, you can do that. So yes, let me grab that. Do I have it? I do. You can also spray it with hairspray. So you can spray it with matte sealer. You can take a big brush and go once over it with matte medium, or you can use hairspray, and hairspray will work as well. Okay. So I do want a quote. So do we want a quote or no quote? How about I leave it up to you? I want a quote. I'm putting a quote on. Sorry, guys. Okay. So I'm going to take my matte medium and a brush. And yes, that is awesome, right? My dad will be 80. My parents' 60th wedding anniversary in October. His birthday is in August. So we're celebrating a little bit early. My husband's birthday is in August as well. In fact, if you're at OKC, his birthday is the last day that we're there, Saturday. Okay, do I want that one or do I want this? You know what? I like this one. Oh my goodness, Loretta, I could not live without hairspray. Whew. I like that one, but I'm thinking I like this one better. Just for size and yeah. Okay, sorry guys. I know, I do like words. I'll do something for the membership group, my membership group, and show my husband. I'm like, do you think it needs a word? He goes, you and your words or your phrases. I'm like, I know, but you know, it kind of goes with painting and creating in an art journal. Now you could leave it off if you wanted to do it on a piece of wood or something, but all right, no quote. Sorry, Linda, we're doing a quote. Well, I'm going to lay it on and we'll see. But I do like this page. And I do like this quote. Because, you know, it took me 50 years to realize that not everyone's going to like me. And that's okay. That was the first time I heard this, let them. If they don't like you, let them. I'm like, no. Okay, so I'm tearing. I didn't do an analysis of laser printers. Hello from Venezuela. Thanks for being here. I'm actually going to cut this with scissors because I really want to get tight. Not have a lot of white showing. The matte medium, guys, in the media line on DecoArt, it is my go-to. It is. You can use it as a glue. You can use it as an image transfer. You can use it as a barrier. So if you're like, oh, I really want to add a word or I want to add a stencil, but I'm not sure if I'm going to like it, you can put that on your page. And if you do it quickly, you can remove it or wipe the paint color off or the stenciling off. Okay, so I'm thinking I like that. What do we think? That's all right, Linda. I know, you know me. You know me well. So we are going to do that. So we're going to put that matte medium. And I'm going to put that kind of at an angle. Well, seriously, did I just pick up when I swiped across my palette? Goodness gracious, I did. No, it's on my paper towel. I swiped across the silly Payne's Gray. That's all right. We're going to make it work. Okay, and dry it. Thank you, Sue Braun. I like that one too. The other one was too big. If the other one had been on tissue paper, maybe. Okay, so is it dry? The thing with going over gesso when it's wet is one thing. The thing of going over matte medium when it's wet, not so good. Your brush is going to stick and stutter and not move. So when you put it on, just don't drag your brush through some Payne's Gray. And you'll be good to go. Okay, so let's just let this set up for a second. I am going to grab my Posca pen. And I think I grabbed the one that is not working, of course. So let's grab a thin. And I just want to add maybe a little highlight on those leaves. This one is the Molotow. This is Grumbacher. But I do like my Posca. You can add a little on those petals if you want to accentuate those a little more. Highlight. Ugh, the Posca just works so much better. Alrighty. And I'm looking. There we've got one. Let's see if this one will work. Oh yeah. There we go. And highlight it and just swipe it with your finger so it doesn't look outlined. Okay. Now, back to our word. I am going to come in with that 3/8 angle and pick up on the toe of my brush a little bit of that Hansa yellow light. Very, very, very inky. And I'm going to just put this color kind of where it is in my background. rinse it, pick up some of the quinacridone magenta, which is very, very pigmented, and I don't want it to be too dark. The other thing is you can come back in with a black pen and go over that and make your words show up a little bit more. But once this dries, you're going to see the transparency in the color. So it should be fine. Okay, 2 more steps and I think we're done. Maybe 3 more steps. When you, let's let this set up for a second. When you put your matte medium lid back on, do yourself a favor and just run that right around the lid grooves, because this can keep your lid from opening. And then I just do myself a favor and I put matte medium, or gesso, because they look almost exactly, well, they are exactly alike, other than the product inside and the name on the front, but okay, so that is dry. I'm just going to take that Posca pen again, and I just want to randomly highlight those little stamen. And then I'm going to come back in with that Stays On ink pad. Take care of those corners and just kind of frame it in. So I'm just going to come down the side a little bit, skip, come down the side, and I'm holding the back of it up because I don't want the whole thing touching. It's just kind of that corner. If you get too much and you don't like it, the only thing I have found that takes it away is hand sanitizer. Okay, and then here, I'll just lay that and grab those little things right there. Okay, last thing, last, I promise, and that is some splatter. So I'm gonna take my 1-inch oval encaustic, get it wet. I'm going to pick up some quinacridone magenta on my palette, you can see there, and then we're just going to flick it here and there, but not everywhere. And I like to do kind of a triangle of design. Okay, so I've got my pinks there. Come in with a dry paper towel, and we are going to lightly touch it and press, lightly touch it and press. And this is going to give you the stained splatter look versus a heavy splatter look. Okay, rinse. Aw, thank you, Gilbert. So we're going to rinse it. We're going to pick up some white, get it nice and wet. Again, we will add a little bit of splatter. Let it get on some of the petals, or a petal or two, and a leaf or two, maybe even on our heart. Let it sit for a second, or 10 or 15. If you do it too soon, it will lift all of it, okay? And then when you press, you just want to do a very light press. Very light, okay? And wherever you don't want it, you've got to get it off pretty much right away. All right, the last thing, just to bring some of that dark line, the black line that we started out with, and the edge with our Stays On ink, is let's add a little Payne's Gray splatter. So again, very wet, 1-inch oval encaustic, tap it across your paper towel, and I'm going to come in a few places, let it sit, and then dry it. I said that was the last thing. However, I want to add a little bit of lift. So back to that 4 flat with Payne's Gray. And we are going to lift our quote from our page. Just a little. Okay. So I'm pleased with that. Again, I will get this loaded onto my website after dinner. Hubby's making steak. With the let them words. Oh, I love that, Linda. Thank you. I'm going to include both, so you can do the one quote or the other. Let me get my hair off of there, but I'm pleased with that. I like the way that turned out. Love the colors. Again, very tropical, very fun, very me. So, and of course, paint on my fingers. So, a hint of Georgia O'Keeffe. Oh, I love that. I don't have that journal here, but Karen, if you've not seen the Georgia O'Keeffe one in the membership group, it's one of my absolute favorites. It's got an orange magnolia on the shirt. Love it, love it. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Cindy. Alrighty, guys. Thanks, Sherry Ann. Y'all have a fantastic week. Get those brushes out. Do something creative. If you're not feeling it, remember, just get out a surface, a journal page, a piece of paper, something, and base coat it, okay? That momentum will lead to one thing or another, and before you know it, you're going to be painting, okay? I am gonna put this up on my website, so if you are not signed up for my newsletter, make sure that you are, because I am gonna send out a newsletter later this week, and the link will be in there, but it's also gonna be on my website, okay? And if you don't know my website, it's right there, sandymcteerdesigns.com. And while you're there and do a little shopping, don't forget to use that discount code. Again, unless you're in my membership group, you will get a better discount with the discount code that is on the header in our membership group, okay? Alrighty, guys, have a wonderful week. Thanks for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. I will go back and look at questions or anything. And if you've got any questions, just leave them in the comments. I will go back and look at those and answer when I can, okay? And then also don't forget to like, comment, share so that you're entered into the Happy Meal giveaways. I will be back on the 20th of July, hopefully with a little bit of a tan. Or a lot of bit of a tan. I tan pretty easy. But anyway, and hopefully refreshed and renewed. I'm sure I will after spending a week with my family. So, all right, guys, have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. And I know some of you have already even started your Mondays. So, all right, see y'all later. I'm going to leave you with a little bit of inspiration. See you guys soon.